Hello everyone, I am Dr. Rupali Udhane and I welcome all of you in Simple Healthy Ways. In last video we discussed about normal digestive process, ulcer formation, migraine, urticaria, and in today's video we are going to discuss about gastroesophageal reflux disease, that is GERD. But first I would like to express my gratitude and big thanks to all my viewers, friends, colleagues and followers. This week we received appreciation letter from YouTube that these videos are informative and inspirative also, so your community is growing. So thank you community for watching the videos and stay tuned with this healthy channel and stay tuned with healthy videos. So big thanks to all my viewers, followers, friends, colleagues, and keep watching this healthy channel. If you have any doubt, complaint, query, you can ask to us, you can write to us and we will like to guide you. Thank you again. So in today's video we are going to discuss about gastroesophageal reflux disease, that is GERD. It is a common chronic digestive disorder characterized by regurgitation of gastric content into the esophagus. GERD is one of the important health concern where there are troublesome symptoms with complication. One often feel with decreased quality of life. Worldwide, about 20% of adult population living in Western culture mostly experience the GERD. So what is the pathogenesis or mechanism behind this GERD? There are some physiological factor, pathological factor and other factors, structural factor. They plays important role in the pathogenesis of GERD. So the first important mechanism is impaired lower esophageal sphincter function associated with transient lower esophageal sphincter relaxation. In healthy individual, there is a relaxation of lower esophageal sphincter often occur physiologically after meal, which allows the passage of food to enter into the stomach. But in the patient with GERD, there are frequent lower esophageal sphincter relaxation which is not triggered by swallowing. So there is an increased intragastric pressure which permit the reflux of gastric content into the esophagus. So the second mechanism is hiatal hernia. The presence of hernia at the junction of lower esophageal sphincter is also one of the affecting cause for this GERD. Third one is impaired esophageal mucosal defense against the gastric reflux. When there is a repeated exposure of esophagus to this gastric reflux, it damages the mucosal lining of the esophagus and also hamper or impair the function of esophageal mucus. And it is often associated with delayed gastric emptying. So the fourth important mechanism is defective esophageal peristalsis. When there is a defective peristalsis is seen in esophagus, that affect esophageal clearance. Mostly the saliva contain bicarbonate ion. So pH of mouth is alkaline and so that regulate the pH of esophagus. But when there is a peristalsis is affected and repeated exposure to the acid is seen, then the pH of the esophagus changes and it becomes acidic. There is a chance of damage of mucosal functioning. This mechanism is also responsible for the development of GERD. So what are the risk factors commonly present in this GERD patient? First is commonly seen in older age, above 50. Second, it is seen in overweight patient, obese patient, those who have excessive BMI. Then third cause is excessive consumption of alcohol, smoking, tobacco use. The fourth one is excessive consumption of tea and coffee. GERD is seen in pregnancy cases also. It is also seen in those who have a less physical activity. Even it is seen in patients with anxiety, depression and those who have improper sleep or defective sleep. Many times it is associated with faulty eating habit, that is larger meal size, that is with size and time proportion, that is larger meal at longer gap, or taking food in the nighttime snacks, associated with development of GERD. So the main important factor is again drugs. Some drugs are responsible in the GERD development. Repeated recurrent use of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug like aspirin, nitroglycerin, benzodiazepine and calcium channel blocker often associated with GERD development. So these are all risk factors commonly associated with GERD development. So we will see now clinical presentation of GERD or the symptomatic presentation of GERD. So one of the common symptomatic presentation is heartburn or regurgitation. The burning sensation in the stomach, in the epigastric region, in retrosternal region and in mouth. In GERD, there is acid reflux through this lower esophageal sphincter into the esophagus, which lead to acid exposure to the esophagus. Then there is a burning in the chest. Then this is to the mouth. There is an opening of lower esophageal sphincter, and so the acid is frequently coming into the esophagus, into the mouth. This is the main reason for burning sensation in the stomach, retrosternal burning and burning sensation in the mouth. So these are all the esophageal symptoms seen in many patients. In some patients, extraesophageal symptoms seen. So extraesophageal symptom, we will see the chest pain that is of non-cardiac origin. It has to be differentiated from the cardiac origin on the basis of diagnostic procedure. GERD pain will be diagnosed on the basis of gastroesophageal duodenoscopy, ambulatory pH monitoring, and cardiac pain will be diagnosed on the basis of ECG and prognosis of the patient. And another symptoms which will be seen under extraesophageal symptom, that is asthma, laryngitis and cough, and also in some cases you will see nausea, vomiting, and also in some cases the acid is coming into the mouth. So in some cases presence of sour taste and dental erosion also noticed. So what are the common complications associated with GERD? First is erosive esophagitis, esophageal stricture and Barrett esophagus, and sometimes cancer of esophagus or esophageal malignancy. So what are the alarming symptoms present in GERD? These are the dysphagia, that is difficulty in swallowing, and another alarming symptom present, that is odynophagia, that is painful swallowing. It often leads to gastric bleeding, and sometimes patient may be seen with anemia and weight loss. So these are the one of the danger symptom or alarming symptom which indicate you underlying complication. So in such cases immediate treatment is necessary. What is the common treatment indicated in GERD? The treatment is given on the basis of resolution of symptom and to minimize the complication or to avoid the complication due to mucosal damage coming into the contact of acid, preventing the complication of the esophageal mucosa coming in the contact with acid. So first, the preventive line of treatment or lifestyle modification is very necessary to control GERD. The first important lifestyle modification is sleeping with elevating the head of the bed so that gastric content will not come in the contact of esophagus. There will be decreased exposure to acid content and decreased esophageal clearance. The second important is weight control. Those who are obese, then education to be given to control the weight. That is also one of the important management. Then third important, avoiding smoking, tobacco, avoiding tea and coffee drinking, and also developing good sleep hygiene is also very important. Then correction of faulty eating style, avoiding night snacks, avoiding larger meal at night. Then avoiding high fat intake from the diet is also helpful. So this is all preventive management and lifestyle modification in GERD. So we will consider now medicinal management to control GERD. The first is to control the acid secretion. The successful treatment is to suppress the acid secretion that can be achieved with H2 blocker and proton pump inhibitor. In many cases, proton pump inhibitor, that is PPI, effective. Mainly used PPIs are omeprazole, lansoprazole. In selected patient, only surgery can be advised. Interprofessional approach to treat GERD is very necessary with the help of gastroenterologist. Is all treatment measure to be done under the guidance of gastroenterologist. Diagnostic procedure advised in GERD. First is gastroesophageal duodenoscopy to rule out stricture, erosion, inflammation in the esophagus. Then second is ambulatory pH monitoring, that is done with pH probe. pH is below 4, it indicates acidic pH of esophagus. pH probe often indicate number of reflux present, duration of reflux, extent of reflux. The third important investigation is barium study of esophagus, that is to rule out stricture, erosion, ulcer in the esophagus. So this is all about of GERD. If any doubt, complaint, query regarding this, you can write to us in the comment box. We will surely like to guide you. In the next video, we are going to discuss about dyspepsia. If you found the videos informative, please like, share and subscribe. Till then, thanks, bye.